Hi everyone. Just going to give everybody a couple minutes to sign in. Today's live is going to be really fun. I'm going to get my stuff together here. And we'll get started. Today we are doing Christmas wreath. And let's see. That's who's in. Donna. Hi, Donna. I'm feeling great. Thanks. I'm not scared that well out of this ear, but the pain is gone, so I'm functional. Means I can use my glue gun. Don't need to hear it that well. So, you guys voted, and D won. Whoever voted for D, we're doing this guy on a wreath today. So do a little bit of rustic goodies and stuff in the wreath. Get things put together. Had everything charged up. I'm going to show you guys those two signs. I'm going to do a paw print tutorial after Thanksgiving. So this coming weekend, the holiday weekend, everybody will be out shopping. You guys want to stay home, or if you're around the time you want to be and you want to hang out with me, I'm going to do paw print wreath this weekend. So Saturday or Sunday, we'll find out. I'm in Nevada. We get family day on Friday, so we don't work on Fridays. So I'll be off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday this week. So maybe I can get a couple lives in for you guys instead of just one on the weekend. So probably definitely do one maybe Saturday, or Saturday, maybe Friday, Saturday. We'll see. Otherwise, if you guys can't join me, there's always the playback, and then I put everything on YouTube. So, but I am going to do the paw print wreath this weekend. So you guys will be able to see how that was put together. I do have one additional sign that I ordered from that same company, and I'll show you guys the sign right now. It's super cute. So make sure I have my volume down. And there we got all of your comments. So let's see. Hi Donna. Hi Vicky. Cindy from Kentucky. Happy holidays. Back at you, girl. Same to you guys. Ohio. All right, so let me prop this guy up right here. And just real quick before we get started, this is the sign I got from the company that I shared on Facebook. This is what I put on the wreath that's going to be delivered to the gift recipients that I made it for, I believe Wednesday. So not even tomorrow, it'll be there Wednesday. So this is the sign that I got from them. It's Woodland Crew on Etsy. So it's the Woodland Crew Etsy. I know Facebook swaps this around, but I posted it on my Facebook page so you guys can see it. But again, the Merry Christmas with the two paw prints, and then the eye is dotted with a paw print too. And that is super precious. It's a really good thick wood. You see how thick that is? And it's lightweight. It's not heavy at all. So whatever you're placing it in, it's not like it weighs down your wreath or weighs down your piece, whatever you're going to attach it to. So I got two of them, and I'm super excited at how it turned out. My my Facebook Live, my tablet turned off here. I'm just putting you guys back on so I can follow comments. But I got two of them. Very super happy with this company. I'm going to be buying lots of goodies from them. So share the love. Go over to their Etsy shop. They have a Facebook page also. I shared it separately on a different post. And you guys can all take a look and use them. They do custom stuff too, so the possibilities are going to be a little endless. So I'm a little excited about that. So that was the one that I bought for Christmas, and I got it really super fast. I believe they're in, I can't remember what state they're in. I want to say Illinois or Ohio. I could be wrong, but in any event, it takes a certain amount of time for them to actually make it, because they make these individually. And can you see here, they weathered the edges on them. I'm not sure if you can tell really quickly. See, they weathered the edges on these, and it smells really good. I like that. I like the fresh pine. It smells. It's wood, you guys. It smells good. So this was a very nice surprise. So they're very good shop. And again, it's the Woodland Crew. They have a Facebook and an Etsy page. You can find the link on my Facebook page. I shared it. And then if you're watching this playback on YouTube, I'll attach a link in the description for this video so you guys can take a look at their Etsy shop too. That's the one that I'm going to make another I'm going to make the wreath this weekend with this sign. And then I bought another one a little bit before that, and I got this one also, and it's from Country Settings, also an Etsy shop that I got it from. And then this one will just be like, this one obviously is more Christmas. This is Christmas, but who wouldn't want a paw print wreath year round, right? So then here's another option. This one just says, love is a four-legged word. So this could apply for cats or dogs or anything that you have, any kind of pets you have that have 4 legs. So let me see here. Just making sure you guys are all still there. So this one was a little bit smaller, hand painted. This is from a different shop, Country Settings. It's Etsy.com shop Country Settings. So that one also is an Etsy. Fellow handcrafter, handmade. Smells good too. I have this weird, it's like, you know, people buy the cedar chips. You don't really need to because these smell good. I mean, this is much smaller, as you can see here. This one's got a bigger presence. This is more holiday, obviously, not Merry Christmas. But this one is a little bit smaller, but this is also very good, very subtle for a year-round wreath. Or if someone, you actually just know someone who's a huge animal lover. Or you want to make a, if you want to make a gift for your vet, or if you know someone who is a vet or a vet tech or just your average animal lover, those make really great gifts, really great gift ideas. Not sure. If you guys, if I'm not seeing anything coming through, can you guys throw me some hearts or something? Make sure that I got you guys with me. I just want to make sure before I keep going that I got you guys here. So I'm going to keep going. It still says it's live. It still says I'm recording. And I still have Wi-Fi, so I'm good to go. So I will prop this guy up here. All right, good. They're coming through. All right, good. So today's wreath, I just was going to do, I just call it the rustic snowflake wreath. Most of the time you see snowflakes, in my opinion, everything is always blue and white. And I love that. I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I saw this guy at Michael's. And at the time I got it, Michael's was 50% off of Christmas. And it has a little bit of glitter on it. And you know how I feel about glitter. But it's had a coat of hairspray. I still expect to find it on my face at some point tomorrow or in a month. But anyways, it's super cute. I couldn't pass it up. It has just a light dusting. It almost looks, it's very subtle, the amount of glitter on it. I'm trying to get a good angle on it. It's just very subtle. But I like the wood on it. It's just a little piece here. There's my tag, and it was attached on through the middle. It doesn't, it's pretty solid. It's not going to come off. So it's a little tiny sign. Let me tell you how, unless it says how big it is. No, it doesn't. This is a 6x6 square. So this is not big at all. 6 inches by 6 inches square. And it's the perfect size for this little guy here. Also got at Michael's, these little evergreen wreath. I've already fluffed this one. I'll show you what it looked like when I bought it from the store. And this is an 18-inch wreath. And for some reason maybe I'm thinking of grapevines. I thought 18 inches would be a little bit bigger. But after I fluffed it, it looks really good. And I don't want it too big because I don't want the sign to be too small or too dwarfed in it. So let me push this down so you guys can take a peek better at the, let me see here. That way you guys have a better look at the actual, my work surface I got going on here. How's that? How's that? Better? You guys can take a peek there. So this guy here, 18-inch wreath. Also I got at Michael's, and these were normally $5.99, and when I bought them they were all $4. And now, right now, I believe they're doing a ton of, what's it called? They're doing a ton of Black Friday sales, even early as today, because Thanksgiving's still 3 days away. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's 3 days away. So I got it for $4. So again, not really breaking the bank. I've already fluffed this one out, so I've just pulled everything out here. I'll show you. This is what they look like. This is what it looked like when I bought it. It almost looks like a candle ring, doesn't it? It doesn't look right at all. And it looks really small, but this is how smushed it is. So you can tell that they were nested inside of each other when they were shipped. So really all I did was just fluffed it out. I literally pulled every little piece one by one, pulled them all out just to make sure that I had everything. Just pull them straight out, and if it starts to look crazy, you can always push them back in. But that's basically how I do it, is I just take every single little end and I grab it and I pull it up and pull it down and pull it up and pull it down. This only has one wire on the back of it. Some of the wreaths that you buy have two. You'll see one here and then you'll see another one inside. It makes it fuller. And this one just has one wire. So it's a little bit more difficult to get things attached to it, but I don't think we're going to have a problem with this guy here. It should be just fine. So it's just the size of the wreath. It's a smaller wreath. So in here I'm still messing and fussing with it. But so what I'm going to do is get things started. Everything else done. That this sign was Michael's. The wreath is Michael's. These little wooden snowflakes I bought, also Michael's. I took some of the tags off of them because sometimes these are a nightmare to get off the back. These little wooden cut pieces. Now they're hanging in the area like where you would paint everything. This is what they look like on the shelf. They usually have this sticker on the back of them. That's Michael's also. So I just grabbed 6 of them. I'm probably only going to use 5. I'm going to use an odd number because of the size of the wreath. I don't want to put too many in there. So I got 5 of them ready to go. I'm going to put that in there. I also, for greenery, I'm going to add in something a little different. I'm going to put in, I know it's strange, I'm going to cut up this ficus bush, or no, this little stem here. You can get these at Hobby Lobby and Michael's. Usually, both of them sell them for $1.99. I got this one for 79 cents, so they must have been running a clearance or a crazy sale at Michael's. But usually at Hobby Lobby, every other week, you can get their greenery and their stems half off. So you can get them for $1 each every other week. So if you go into Hobby Lobby in their floral stem area, in the little buckets, and there's no sign for 50% off, just wait till the next week, and they will definitely be 50% off then. So just one of these, and you'll see I'm going to cut it up. It's going to add just a little bit of texture, just a little bit of green texture. It's not going to look like a spring. It's still Christmassy. And then, because this is just your average evergreen, I wanted to put more depth or texture to it. So this little sprig here, these little crazy spiky looking, it's a different type of pine tree, right? These guys, so I'm gonna cut these off and put these in. This little pick guy I got from Hobby Lobby, and right now Hobby Lobby, everything's 50% off too. I went there on Sunday, I believe. Was feeling a little better, and their Christmas is all 50% off. This guy's also Hobby Lobby. It's a bigger bush here. $14.99. I got it for 50% off. So I got this entire thing here for $7. We are not going to use all of it by any means. We're going to be using pieces of it. I especially like the light colored ends here. And this is more of a plasticky bush. It's not going to cause any issues. We may or may not use the pine cones in here. We'll see what happens. But this is more greenery I'm gonna pop in there. I got a berry guy. This is a really big one. You can get these at Michael's also. They're just a lot smaller. Like this is the one I got at Michael's. And it's not bad. It ended up being 49 cents. So they're $1 each. No, sorry, 99 cents. So it's $1.99. I got it 99 cents, 50% off. So this one's much smaller, but you can get these bigger bushes at Hobby Lobby. So this is $6, but I got it for $3. Again, there's a lot more to cut up here. I'm going to get a lot of use out of this, so I may or may not even use this whole thing on this wreath, but there's going to be a lot of berries in it. So just cut that guy apart too. And then I'm going to wait till we get closer to the end, and I'm going to ask your guys' opinion. I kind of want to put some cotton in it. I think it might be cute since it's already rustic and we're going with like a more woodland type thing. So we'll see, because I got some really cute ribbon. Let me show you the ribbon. We're going to go with burlap with the red stripe. Michael's. Oh, all this ribbon is Michael's, by the way. Burlap ribbon, red stripe. Then I found a red plaid with snowflakes. Very cute. And then I believe I bought this one last year. I don't think they have it this year, but this was in my stash. But this was also Michael's from last year. Another burlap with white snowflakes on it. So we got 2 snowflake ribbons and one large one. Got two 2.5 or 2 inch, 2.5 inch wide, and then one 1.5 inch wide ribbons. And I'm going to do, it's not going to be a really big floofy bow. It's just going to be what I call a sloppy bow. I'm just going to place a couple loops in it, place it around the side, and then we're going to get it all placed in there together. So that's really all I have to place in the wreath right now. So what I want to do to get started is I'm going to put the sign on it first. Just because, I mean, yes, I'm going to be adding a lot of greenery, and normally I tell you put the greenery on it first. I'm not getting any, keep saying close app. I'm not seeing any of your comments. Maybe I need to have them up here on my phone. Yeah, they're not coming through on my tablet, but you guys are there. Good deal, Donna. Okay, I'm from Kentucky. So some of my old ones are coming in on my phone. Let's try this one more time. It's just easier to have your comments come through up here on my tablet. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Worst case scenario, I'll just have to keep looking up here at the phone. And let's see. I took the tag off, and now we're going to do the staple gun and, wow, words, Whitney. Pipe cleaners. Pipe cleaners or wire. Anything that you guys have that's going to be sturdy enough to wire it around. Floral wire works if you have thicker gauge wire, anything you have. But I like, on securing signs, especially to evergreens, it's a little bit more forgiving. I use pipe cleaners. Same thing that I use, you'll see me use these to wrap around the middle of a bow. So it's a lot of times it's really simple. So let me kind of move some of this stuff around behind me so you can see a little bit more. Move that here. Doesn't look like my tablet's going to be agreeing with me today, guys, so I'm going to have to watch your comments up here on this phone. Sorry about that. I don't want to fuss with it. So fluff the wreath, took the tag off of it, just get it kind of ready to go. Right now we got a blank canvas, so you just figure out how do you want it. I think I want this to be a little diagonal, so when you're looking at the wreath, the square will be diamond shaped, because I mean, it's a snowflake. It doesn't really have a left or right, up, down, regular side or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place it on here like the diamond I want it to be. So here's the wreath. If you're going to look at the wreath this way, I'm going to place it on here. This is just so I can find out where to put my pipe cleaners on at, where I want to attach them. So I'm going to smush it down on one side just a little bit. And my idea is to put the bow over here, or kind of up higher or lower, and then probably maybe a little bit lower. And then I'm going to place a tiny little bow at the top above this, right above here. So you'll see I'm going to cut enough for a larger normal bow, and then I'm going to put a little tiny bow up here at the top of this guy. So I just want to make sure I'm feeling for the wire, the piece back here that, oh, there we go. You can kind of see it there in the light. That wire is what everything is attached to. This wreath only has one. Can you see it here? There's only one back here. So I'm feeling with my fingers to see if I do this if I'm attaching them on corner to corner, I'm kind of holding it here to feel with my fingers back here to see exactly where I need to put these pipe cleaners at. And I'm not going to press it down in this hard, so you're not going to have to see it. Like, I mean, I'm going to use some of it. So basically, I'm going to go pretty much corner to corner on that. That's not really going to... All right, so I'm going to fluff this back out, because we're also going to use this to fill up some of the middle and to hold the sign up a little bit. So still nothing, we're not doing anything with glue just yet. I'm going to put glue on these after I fold them in half just a little bit. So I'm just putting a little tiny rounded V here at the bottom. And then I'm going to place a staple, just holding it across the corner here. And I'm going to use my staple gun. And I'm going to try to get as close as I possibly can. I've had these things fall off the sides of... There we go, that kind of caught it pretty good. And I'm going to do another one right here. And see, that one didn't go on very well. See that, guys? Came off the side. So this one right here's got to come off. I'm just going to take this guy off real quick and start over. So, I mean, if you've got a sign that's a little bit thinner, be careful, because there's times I've ruined signs before where I've put the staple in it and it's gone through a little bit on the front, or it's just gone all the way through. Now, these staples aren't very deep at all. I'm using, where's my box of staples? Sorry, guys. All right, I'm using 5/16 staples. I got these at Lowe's. It's just the measurements right there. 5/16 staples. They're fairly small staples. I mean, there's staples that are a lot deeper than this, but also these are just the ones that were in the garage because my husband uses these to put the Christmas lights up on the house. So that's just what I use because it's all we had, and I haven't honestly thought about it, but I have ruined a sign before throwing those staples right through it because I wasn't mindful of how thick the actual wood was. We've got a lot to give on this. This is obviously a much bigger piece intended for something else, probably tabletop or something like that. So this one I'm not really worried about going through anything. Now see that second one? I got it spot on. It's in the wood there. And so now I'm bending those forward, and once I get this one stapled on down here, I'm going to put hot glue on that and then just let the hot glue set. So one more time, I'm just going to kind of bend it into a V and then hold it down over here and then just throw some staples on it left and right. No, didn't work out. It's going to be hit and miss. Sometimes if there's not enough room, you got to get that angle just right. And that's part of, there we go. Got that one. That's just part of the process, right, guys? Okay. Now that one, I think, I don't know, there's a wire in there, but I put that one right through the middle of this piece right here. So that's what I'm looking at here and here on both corners. Now I'm going to shoot glue on both of these corners here, and I'm going to let the glue dry. So just make sure my glue gun's nice and hot. Now don't put too much, because this guy doesn't look like it's going to give me room, too much room for that glue to puddle, and I don't want it to drip down the edges. I mean, if it does, I don't think it's going to be earth-shattering, only because we're going to be pushing this down into the wreath, and then I'm going to be adding some stuff around it and, you know, more greenery and things. I don't think it's going to be, you know, hit or miss if you got like a glob of glue coming down the side. Possibly also might be able just to pull it off too. This isn't wood glue, so it's not like it's a secure blonde. I mean, you know, they make separate hot glue for wood that I actually don't have. And I believe that when I found some, it only came in the little skinny sticks. So I have a little tiny glue gun somewhere that I used for wood glue. That was to make those little clothespin reindeers. Everybody made those? I used to make the clothespin reindeers or the candy cane reindeers every year for my mom. My mom worked for the school district out here in Las Vegas, and she was support staff, so she always had a bunch of kids, and she worked with the resource kids. So every year we would sit down. When I was younger, and even in high school, and I still lived at home, we'd sit down and make the candy cane reindeers, and then make little clothespin reindeers too. And a lot of times, with the clothespin reindeers, you have to use the wood glue or those two clothespins with a little wooden bead in the middle. It falls apart. So somewhere I have a wood glue gun with yellow wood glue, hot glue, but I don't know where it's at. So don't ask me where it's at, because I don't have it. I'd have to buy a new one. But those little clothespin reindeers are so cute. Just stick them on the tree. I made a bunch of them for ornaments. A lot of the kids were happy to have them. So this one is, oh no, look what I did, guys. I glued myself to my shirt. Okay, so that'll dry. Leaned over it too much. It was still a little tacky. So here you can take a look. Got a blob of glue on this corner, and a glob of glue on this corner. Here and here. And it's still, I'm just going to wait. Yeah, it's still tacky to touch. So I'm going to wait because, I mean, it's fine if it gets glued into, not to you, obviously, not to you. This is a brand new shirt too, so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to get that off. But I'm going to attach it into this guy here. And I think after that, then I will do the greenery and then add the bow. The greenery is a little bit more important. Those bigger pieces, I don't want them to be sticking out. So the greenery is real super easy. We're going to cut it, and we're going to go in a pattern, in one circular pattern, and we're just going to pop that all in, and then you'll see at the end that adding just different types of greenery into the evergreen already, it changes it just a little bit to where it looks like you've picked all these extra little fresh pieces everywhere, and it looks like, you know, everything obviously it's an artificial wreath, but it's going to have just that little cute pop that makes it... It makes it just that much, just little pop of cuteness. It's you know it's fake, but it makes it seem as though it's real, which is part of the appeal, in my opinion, of artificial. You don't have to worry about watering it, stuff like that. So all I'm doing here is laying this on top, and I'm wrapping the pipe cleaner around the wire back here. So I'm just going to tie that kind of a little tight, but not too tight. And then just do one twist right now. Just because if you want to reposition it, it's going to be one of those things where you're going to have to take the whole thing off again. So we're just going to kind of lay this here. And then lay this other guy right here. And I'm leaving everything up underneath there because I want it to hold the sign up for us. And then after you get this in, if it moves around on you a little bit, that's okay. It's not going to... shake loose or fall off or anything like that. You're definitely super okay with the rest of it. So let's see. So nice to see you. Hi, Helen. It's nice to see you too. Oh yeah, West Coast time difference. That's true. I got off work early this week, so that's kind of fun, huh? I was able to come home and play sooner than norm. Of course, with the holiday coming up, everybody's got some kind of time off. Out here in Las Vegas, all the kids are out of school the whole week. This is the first year they've done that, so it was a little strange going to work this morning. There was no traffic. I got to work way earlier than I had expected because I completely forgot that the kids were out of school out here. Because normally they only have Thanksgiving Day, and then in Nevada we have the Friday after off. They call it Family Day. So the kids used to just have Thursday and Friday. But now this week they've changed it to the whole week. That's just for schools. All the federal stuff is still open. And of course I think the other places like the D and the post office, I think they're all going to be closed this Saturday. At least that's what they normally do, at least here in Nevada. No, a lot of people are there. I've had bosses before when I've worked for companies that weren't based in Nevada that said that it was basically just an excuse to go shopping. I was like, you have to take that up with the state, not me. I mean, I don't mind. I'm not going to complain. But I was born and raised here, you guys. I've never lived anywhere else, so I don't know anything else. So for the longest time, I wasn't aware that other states didn't have the Thursday off. Friday off. I thought everybody did. And I was like, what do you mean? And like, obviously, unless you work in retail, obviously you got to go to work, but I just assumed from being in school my whole life and all that everybody got the Friday off after Thanksgiving. And then I grew up and the truth was learned. Hi, Andrea. Thanks for coming. Thank you for your well wishes. I definitely still can't hear out of my left ear, but the pain is gone, so it's fine. It's a little, it gets a little frustrating. You could say it's definitely frustrating, but it's all good. Here's this pipe cleaner and this pipe cleaner. I twisted them around, and then I just basically wrap them around that too. When we're done, I'm going to shoot some more hot glue over this, and then what I do is I will get some leaves. I'll show you guys my little stash of leaves, and I will cover up any of this back behind the scenes stuff back here, and I'll show you guys at the end. I usually skip that, but we're in it together for the long haul, guys. I'm going to show you start to complete. So when you see the pictures and the stills I put up, it's going to be everything. So hang in there or wait for the playback and fast forward, whatever makes you happy. So there's 1 and 2. So for now, this is what we have. So if you want your wreath this way, if you want your wreath this way, I plan on having it this way. I want the diamond shape here. So this is how I'm leaving it. And then now If you see, it kind of turns in a little bit, and I'm okay with that. What I can do is you can move it and bend it this way a little bit more. It's all wire back there, and it's all very forgiving. Nothing's going to, you know, break off. This is all connected pretty well after I fluffed it. And see, I'm continuously fluffing this stuff, you guys. It's just like bows. I can't stop it. And I'm going to mess with it constantly while I put more stuff in it. So this is the plan for me. I want it to face this way. So when you guys are looking at the door, I got the diamond on this side. I'm going to put a little bow up here, and I'm going to put the bigger bow possibly down here. I'm not sure just yet where I'm going to put the bigger bow. So that's how I'm going to hold this wreath, or how I want to hang it. And the really only thing you need to worry about that for is after you put the bow on, how you want to hang it on your door. And at that point, it won't really be that bad. So let's see. Donna's 9 months pregnant. Hey, congratulations. 4 and 2-year-olds are all here through the holidays. Glad they're here, but a bit crazy. I believe you got a full house, huh? Got a full house. That's always fun. I love to hear about that. They're a very small family. Very small family. So I love hearing other people's stories about big families, even if they're losing their minds. It's fun. So now I'm just going to add a lot of the greenery, and placing it in is really just your preference. I'm going to show you how I put it in a specific order so it all faces. On this type of wreath, it's all going to face the same way. So it looks as though we made this and we strung this on with wire onto its own frame. But only on certain things do I go left and right. And I'll show you what I mean after I pull this thing apart here. I'm going to just take this guy and I'm going to clip him off. This ficus leaf here, it's got 3 branches. So here's 1, here's 2, and here's 3. I'm cutting all of these off right here. I don't really, there's no wire in this part. This is where the wire is. I don't need the wire because I'm not putting it in a grapevine. We're going to use the fluffy part of this evergreen. That's going to hold, we're gluing everything to that. So it's going to hold all of it together for us. This is our peanut butter. This is the actual foundation of what we're gluing everything to. And then I'm going to put a couple pieces inside the bows too. I like, once I make my bow, I like to put little extras here and there in the bow. So I'm just taking my wire cutters and I'm cutting off on each one from the main stem here. So you'll see I'm just cutting them off really quickly. And since there's no wire to cut through, this shouldn't be too bad on your hands. This top one up here has got a little bit of wire in it, but not too bad there. So I'm literally just cutting these off right off of the stem base here, if you guys can see. And it's just enough to, we're going to nestle this down in so that not a lot of it, too much is showing, but it's going to give you just a little bit. It's also a good idea to add these in so you're not buying so much expensive, you know, seasonal things. Because these are a year-round thing. This ficus bush is always at Hobby Lobby, always at Michael's. I see them year-round. There's different variations in color. There's, you know, I picked these darker ones this time. There's ones I've seen where this middle leaf is really, really lime green. And that would look really good on the other option. I forget which one I gave you. It was for this guy. It was for this one here. This green, the light, bright lime green would look really good, even though this is a dark evergreen color. Just try it. If you're worried about, like, oh, I don't know if it's going to look good or the color's going to be a little strange, just try it, because it won't be too crazy, because this isn't your focal piece. We're not making a solid ficus, you know, wreath. We're just putting this in for a little touch of texture. And there's all kinds of greenery you can get. Now, sometimes that greenery aisle at Michael's and Hobby Lobby can get kind of crazy, in my opinion. It gets a little pricey. So I'll wait until I get, like, if I need to get one of the bigger bushes, I wait until I can find it for, you know, buy it for 50% off, or maybe 20% off your whole order. This is the bush I showed you earlier from Hobby Lobby. It's just these little different pine sprigs. It's a different kind of pine than this wreath pine. So I like to just add the little weird textures together. And then they sell these little bushes, all these little weird bushes, at least at Hobby Lobby. They're all in the same aisle. They're on, right with all the little Christmas picks and things. And there's a whole bunch of different kinds. Some of them have berries, some of them have pine cones. at both Hobby Lobby and Michael's. Now, Michael's this year did not have a lot. They had a much smaller selection than I remember in the past. But here's another example of this wire that I clipped that off of. That's a good wire. This would be a good, I'll get these pieces off here. This wire that's on here, I'm just going to clip that off later. And this is a good tool. Like I said before, even this end right here, it won't scratch. I could use that just to stir in my glue pot down right here. So these are little tools that I find that you don't have to go out and buy the expensive stuff just to ruin it later. It's the stuff that eventually over time you're going to throw out. So let's just recycle what we have. So I cut every little piece off of that bush, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 of them. So when I start placing these in, I'm just going to pick an order, but whichever direction I go in, I'm sticking with that direction. So if I'm going to stick these in, I'm going to stick this one in here. It's facing to the left. I'm going to stick everything in going the same direction all the way around the wreath. So I'm just going to kind of place them in. I'm not gluing anything yet because I want to make sure that I've got, I want to make sure 6 of them is enough. Because if not, I've got other, obviously I bought way more than just one when I went there because I can't not just buy one. Or I can't buy just one. I can't not, anyways. You guys know what I mean. Anyways, I'm just going to stop while I'm ahead. So this looks like that's going to be doing just fine. So I got a little bit of cover up on the, but it's super, super cute. It's not a problem at all. So I think I'm going to just push those through there like that. And I kind of nestled them in there a little bit so you can kind of see already has some texture to it. And the green is a different green. So it gives you a little bit more pop of color than you'd see if it was just the plain evergreen. And I hope this camera picks this stuff up for you guys because right here, I'm seeing a really good a really good limit of texture, but I'm hoping that this will come through on the camera as I put these guys together. So I like these. I'm not going to change them up too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull them out now and I'm going to glue them back in where I had them. So with this guy, it's a little tricky. I'm going to pull all these needles down and I'm going to hold it just like this. So here's what the piece looks a little crazy. I'm pulling it all down, straight down. And I'm going to dip this piece into my glue pot like that. Oh, I got to turn my glue back up. It was smoking earlier, so now let me turn my glue back up. I got a decent amount of glue on that, and I'm just going to place that guy right back where I had him. With this stuff in the evergreen, whatever this stuff is made out of, hot glue gives you such a secure bond that if you're not sticking it right directly onto the wire, you could wire these in if you're nervous about it. I'm not interested in doing that. To me, that's going to be a little bit too much effort because hot glue it's not going to let go. Once you put this hot glue in there, you'll see that it's a pretty solid bond. Especially when you get all these little plastics and these synthetics together. They don't really let go of each other. They're pretty solid. So that one's going to go right there. So I'm just putting them back in. I've done things before where I will just kind of place everything in the wreath. And I mean everything. Down to little tiny flowers, little sprigs here and there. And then I'll try to go back and glue it all together. And I've found that I've forgotten 1 or 2 pieces. And then when I go pick it up or I put it on the wall or the door, pieces fall out. So one good rule of thumb I've seen other crafters and other people on their pages do is pick one at a time. Excuse me, guys. Pick one greenery or one greenery bush item at a time and just do all that. Glue it all in and then move on to your next one. I have to say I'm guilty of not necessarily doing that each time. Excuse me. But I think with this guy, I'm not putting as much in. Some of my other arrangements, I've really put some good amount of little. You get into the little tiny pieces and stuff like that. I've put a lot in before. So let's see here. Looks good already. Perfect, thank you. And the texture looks good. Color's a little more subdued. Great look though. Yeah, it's a little bit darker, it's just more of a texture thing, I think. When I get, I have one studio light on in here, but once I get done and I take the pictures with my my studio lights out on the door, you guys will really be able to see just how much of color, just a little pop, and how the texture does show. It almost looks like little green fireworks coming out of it. Super, it's really cute. So, same as before, all I did was I glued in the little pieces there, so they kind of look, that's really about all we got going on so far, nothing crazy. These guys, these are just going to be an accent here and there. Remember, same thing as before, only do, you know, one or two and go in the same direction. So I'll just stuff these guys here and there. And now I probably won't use all of them now that I think about it, because this is a much smaller wreath. But we're just going to place these in here, left, right. And don't forget to go on the sides, like the back, not just on the top. If you're working on this down on the table or up on a door, obviously if it's up on a door or up on the wall, you're not going to be able to kind of just place things in there. They'll fall right out. But what I mean is, like, I have all these things on the top of it, but while it's hanging, I kind of want to make sure that I'm getting some stuff back in the back on the top. So when you're looking at the wreath, it's got a little bit more depth, and you can see not everything is just placed right on the top. You get things around the sides too. So when you walk up to your door, you're going to look at to the left or the right side. It'll be bare, or you'll see some sticks poking through. That's the best opportunity to put little things here and there, throw an extra flower in there, and you'll be amazed at when you walk up to your own piece, you'll see different angles, and you'll see, okay, well, I don't really necessarily think I'm hiding it. Well, you're not hiding it. You're just, you're giving it more angles to appreciate it at, right? I guess that's the best way to put it. And you guys, I'm not a floral designer by any means. Trust me. I just throw these things together the way I think they look good. I've also had a lot of inspiration from other people I've watched. Yeah, let's see. So I'm just throwing these in left and right here, and I'm going to take a peek. I'll hold it up for you guys before I glue them in, just so that you can see here. I'm going to put the bow in, and the bow is going to be going over this, but it's fine because I don't necessarily want to work everything around stuff. I kind of want stuff to all mesh together. And let's see. Well, I only have 3 left, so I might as well stick them in here, right? Guys, because I still have another greenery bush here with these little extra accents, that little bit of lime green pieces on them. I still have another greenery bush that I'm going to add some goodies to. And then also, remember, these also, I need to use some of these on the back of the bush to hide the pipe cleaners that we used, or anything that might be poking through on the back that you don't necessarily want anyone to have to look at. Stuff like that. So I'm going to leave that one off for now. So this is just one more step with some more leaves pushed in it. All we're doing is just adding more greenery. Adding more greenery, adding more greenery. So that way it gets a kind of look of, you know, we went out and we picked a whole bunch of greens from our garden or out in the field somewhere, which is completely doable, just not where I'm from. Which is sad, because I would love to do that. Otherwise, I could do a Christmas wreath, but it would be full of, like, tumbleweeds. Let's see. I've forgotten where I pulled this out from. I think I took this one off of the table, so I'm going to throw this one where that one was. For sure I pulled that one off the table. So I'm just taking where I cut them off at, and I'm putting a little bit of glue on the end. Now this is the part where, again, I need a pick machine, so working on that for Christmas, husband, pick machine. These are kind of melting a little bit when I put the glue in it, so what I'm doing is I'm dipping it in, I'm circling it, I'm putting the glue on it, and I'm immediately placing it back in there. So even if that plastic melts a little bit, I've got my leaves placed where I want them, and I don't have to necessarily worry about that piece of the plastic like melting down, and because that happens a lot. So I'm just quickly getting them a little bit gluey and then sticking them right back in there. Also, the idea is too that we're filling in a lot of the gaps. This wreath is smaller, so it only has one frame circle or one framed metal ring. And I personally prefer the ones with two, but I guess maybe this was just a Michael's thing. I know the Hobby Lobby ones have two rings on them. I just don't know if it was maybe a size thing, because this is a smaller wreath. And I believe the ones that I got at Hobby Lobby were 24-inch. I'll have to take a look. But this guy's an 18-inch. And there's smaller ones than this. I believe I saw 14-inch ones too when I was at Michael's. But I didn't want to go much smaller. I mean, if it's still going to go on a door, I don't want it to be too tiny. I still want it to have some kind of presence. And then also, if you're going to make something like this for somebody and you need to ship it to them, this is still a perfect size that it looks great on your door. And then also you can get it in a decent size shipping box, and then you're not struggling with the price to ship. Some of the things, especially if you get into the bigger arrangements and bigger wreaths, it's very difficult to ship, you know, just your average stuff. Because I don't have a business shipping account or a business shipping type thing. The stuff I do through Etsy, through the Etsy shop business, that's different. But if I just want to ship to a friend or a buddy, let me see in there, I've got, okay guys, I'm full circle. These are all glued in. So here's the finished product, at least with that next step. And I got one more step of greenery I'm going to throw in there. And let's see. Hi, Linda. Very pretty. I just got here. Did you get to feeling better? Yes, feel better. Still can't hear out of my ear very well. But the pain is gone, and I'm ready to get back into this because I missed you guys, and I missed being able to do this. All day yesterday, all I wanted to do was craft. I did get to organize a little bit. As much as that looks like a massive mess over there, believe me, I'm able to walk now. Because before I couldn't walk over there, I had all my bags. But I was able to mess around. And then, I also made, I put pictures online, and I'll show you guys. I made this guy yesterday. So I was able just to sit down and make a little, the snowman basket hat. Just make the little snowman basket arrangement. So I was able to do that yesterday. Here's these guys that we're going to put in this wreath too. I just had a little relaxing day, and the pain is gone. That's why I might be talking a little loud, but that's because I'm hearing myself in stereo on this side. But everything is supposed to be a-okay, and we'll be good to go. So I'm fine with it. I'm just excited to get back into this with you guys. Let me put my, sorry guys, got to put some stuff back. I can't function if everything's thrown everywhere. So there's my third layer. And now I'm going to add a few of these guys. And I might actually add more of these on after I put the bow in it. Thank you. I got to like that. I love that. Thanks, guys. I put a little bit of these in right now. I'm going to show you how I cut them apart. And then after we put all the goodies in it, I might actually put more of these in. Will depend on you see, because I really like how the ends on these are light lime green, almost a yellowish. And I really want some of that to pop through on the finished product. So I'm going to put these in now just to get them in there, to get some of the wreath filled in. And then that will help me decide and show me where. I also might put like a pine cone. I don't know if that pine cone's kind of really huge. Maybe I'll put this long one in. This one's real pretty. Because I definitely want these guys to show. Maybe just on a few parts. So we'll see. I only cut 2 pieces off of this. And then I only used one of these stems here, like this one. I only used one of those on that snowman hat basket. So this one bush for $7.50 has already been used on two projects. And even if I cut off one more and I use this longer pine cone here, I don't imagine I would use all of this. There's still a lot left for you to use on other projects or on other gifts or other things. Also, these things are really good to use on gift wrapping. So you just take this off here and then use this on the actual part where you're going to put a bow, or you're going to put maybe some flowers or something, or raffia. And I like using this stuff for gift wrapping too. And then, of course, in my family, we're the ones that go around after and take all the bows back. Or if I see a bow in the trash, I'm like, are you keeping that? Because we don't throw bows away in this house. Sorry. So, I mean, I'm not as bad. Does anybody else do that? We're not bad here. Like, you can throw away the wrapping paper. It's fine. But with me, no, you don't throw bows away. I'll get them out of the trash. And I've been at other people's houses, and I have not been afraid to ask them, hey, do you mind if yeah, those are cute. I'll take those bows, you know. I can guarantee you I'll put it on your present next year. That's just the thing. My grandma always did that. We did not throw bows away. You do not throw bows away. Unless unless the cat got to them, because our cat used to chew on them and stuff like that. But we'll see. Carol's back. Hi, Carol. Hey, back at you. So I'm just cutting these guys up here. And I want to see if I can leave them kind of like this little guy here's got 3 of them on there. I want to see if I can leave them like that, or if it's going to be just a little bit too clunky. I'm going to just take a peek, and I'm just going to test it by putting a few in here and there just to see if I like it or if it looks a little crazy. But crazy's not bad, and in a lot of instances we'll see how it looks here. Now that one's definitely okay. Well, I got 2 pieces here, so I'm going to cut this one off. And I'm going to cut this one off right. Oh, this one had a third. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. I'm going to cut that one off there. And I'm going to cut this one here. So I'm just eyeballing it because I know some of them are just definitely too big to leave in one piece. But these pieces are more manageable for this size wreath. So I just cut that one sprig into 3. I left these stick metal wire pieces on it. And we'll just see how I can do this. Because I wanted this part is my most important part. I wanted, if I put the bow here, I'm going to try to get this one down here, like maybe I'm going to maybe pop that one in there like that. I'll get this one over here like this. There's no wire in this actual piece here, so these aren't bendable. This piece is, but we're putting that in the wreath. So these are going to kind of lay however they want to lay. So I'm just going to kind of pop them in. And I'm still guesstimating that I'm going to throw my bow right here. So again, this is just maybe a 3rd layer of texture that we're adding to get the greenery portion just a little bit fuller. That's really all it is. And it doesn't matter what one you buy or what greenery bush you have. To me, this one didn't even look Christmassy, except for the fact that they put pine cones in it. So if you see something in just the regular floral aisle, I mean, I just put a ficus bush in there. So, I mean, this is your everyday house plant, right? Or house plant tree, whatever the terminology needs to be. To me, it's a darker green, and the leaf just adds a little bit extra that you maybe weren't thinking about or didn't expect to see. So I got a few extras here. And I've only put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those mini sprigs, and I only cut off 2 pieces. So here I've added just a little bit more. And you see, it's not going to be even, and I like that. I like how it's kind of chunky here, and then this piece over here kind of pops out that way. I don't necessarily want it to be a perfect circle because I want it to look like I wrapped all this together. I went out and picked it all out in the garden or in the field or somewhere out in normal, so I figured it was really, really cute. So far I'm really liking that, and I'm going to glue those guys in, and I have maybe 4 of these little extra pieces, and some of that can go in the bow, which I'm going to do the bow next, and then I'm going to rip this guy apart and we'll put the berries in. And so far, other than the sign here and the bow, there's not going to be much to cover up on the back, but you guys will definitely be able to see exactly how I cover all that stuff up in the back. And it's not, I mean, once you see it, you'll be pleasantly surprised at how easy it is. A lot of people don't really mind what the backs of things look like. I don't honestly mind either. Sometimes, depending on what I've used to hold things in, I just don't want it to scratch a door or a window. But, and let's see, Helen. Thank you, Helen. Until I started watching you, I might have cut something off, as I don't like to, but not to switch it up like you do. I'm sorry, I'm trying to see this on my phone. Thanks, Helen. I appreciate that. Love showing you guys anything I can do. That's the fun part. This has become such an enjoyment for me. That's why I was upset. I was like, oh, I want to do my live because I wanted to talk to you guys. And then love all the comments. Love talking with you guys. Love chatting with you guys. I've learned so much from all of you guys too. Like, I've gotten so many different tips and tricks on different things that I would have never thought of just because I'm sitting here talking and saying things. I'm like, oh, Well, someone just gave me a little hint, and now I can go off and use that. And some of these ideas that I wouldn't have thought of, that's why I love sharing this stuff, because then you guys share right back, and it works out for all of us. It's kind of awesome. It's kind of an awesome thing. So I got 2 more to glue in, and then I'm going to start that bow, which again is what I call, sloppy bow, lazy bow, if that's even possible. Real simple, easy way to just get a bow and wrap it all together. And I plan on doing a really nice bow on the other wreath I have planned that was option A with the blues. I'm going to do a big bow on that, and I'm going to have you guys, I'm going to have to move this camera around and clear off this table. I don't know how. Maybe I'll just go on the floor or put it on the bathtub. So you guys can see a really good view of my pro bow. And I'm going to get the pro bow out and do a really nice big bow, because for that wreath I have a 24-inch base for it. Evergreen base also. And that one's going to have a lot of, like, I think basically one of the bushes I bought, I believe, is eucalyptus. And it's really pretty because it has a little bit of a blue tint to it. It was really, really pretty. So here this is. Got my last little piece here of greenery. Now I'm going to make my bow. I'm going to throw my bow in there. Now see, this is already, I'm loving this by itself. If we didn't put this sign on it, this would be really good for the new year. I mean, if things are still cold and snowing where you're at, this would be just a really good New Year wreath. New Year's Eve, you could, decorate for a couple days, but I leave my Christmas stuff up until the end of January, believe it or not. I don't take my Christmas stuff down probably until maybe the second to last week or the last week of January, because at that point I'm really sad that my tree goes away and then the house kind of feels a little dreary. So I leave my Christmas tree up, but I have to take the stuff outside the house down, because I don't know if you guys know what HOAs are, homeowners, I'm sure everybody does. My HOA states I got to have all my stuff down 10 days after the holiday. So outside I could put my different wreath out, but even this alone, take this off, put just some burlap on there, whether it's red or blue or green, or stick with a gray theme, anything like that for winter. We could put a burlap bow right here, and then that would be perfect just for after Christmas and the holidays. So that's another idea that I could do something different on that too, and show you guys just the after the holidays calm down wreath, I guess. HOA approved. Heaven forbid you should leave Christmas bells up, 10 days after Christmas kind of thing. But that's pretty much, I'm loving this the way it is, but we're going to put a bow and some berries in it. So I'm going to leave that guy over here like this, and I'm just going to start unwrapping my stuff. This is a big guy I got at Michael's. Michael's this year started carrying some bigger spools. Usually I didn't find anything, unless you guys are seeing it somewhere else, but Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Joann's are the big places out here. There's Costco and Sam's Club. Costco's ribbon was kind of lackluster for me this year. I'm not a Sam's Club girl, but I went to Sam's Club with my friend, and I got so much ribbons from Sam's Club this year. So much cute stuff. The stuff in this snowman hat, that's the Sam's Club ribbon I got. I was so super excited how cute it was. But this year, Michael's has got some pretty big spools. This guy's 100 feet. So I'm pretty proud of Michael's for carrying some larger spools of holiday ribbon. And remember I said before, don't just think of it as Christmas ribbon. This will look great on a Valentine's wreath. This will look great on a 4th of July or Memorial Day or Veterans Day or anything else like that that's coming up, President's Day. Anything with these natural colors in it, it doesn't all have to be red, white, and blue. It all doesn't have to be red and white. Just think of it as, I can use this for so many other holidays than just Christmas. That's basically how I always look at it. And it's the best time of year to stock up too, because after Christmas is over, Michael's doesn't really carry that much, and usually the prices aren't that well. Hobby Lobby's decent, but this is the time of year is when you really want to stock up on these crazy not crazy colors, but when you want to stock up on stuff you wouldn't normally think of as, the rest of the year kind of stuff. So, my normal bow technique, I got a pipe cleaner out. I'm going to fold it in half to get it ready. Here. Oh, you know what? No, I have to unwrap these first. Sorry, guys. It's really hard. I always forget to unwrap all of my ribbon first because I'm holding this bow after I've already made the loops. And then I have to go and I have to open this and unwrap it. And then I get chip clips out, these little wooden chip clips that hold stuff. And it works if you're doing a multi-layer bow and you just don't have the hand strength or anything like that. But in this instance, if I can remember to do it, I'll just get it all out. And I just cut the one end already in a chevron. And most of everybody already knows that the chevron is you fold it in half and then you cut from the fold diagonally out towards the end. So it looks like that, and then that's your finished product for a chevron or a dovetail. So I do that on all my ribbons that I plan on using for whatever piece I'm making at the time. So we'll do that real quick on this third guy here. Making sure everything looks good and get started. Okay. So, first one here, I'm just guesstimating. This wreath is a fairly decent size, but I don't want to have really long streamers. I kind of want this to be short and compact. So once I put this in there, I just want kind of really short tails. I don't want really long tails that I have to twirl or curl or anything in that. So I'm going to make this one short on purpose. And then I'll see if you guys like that, if it's your style. If it's not your style and not your preference, pinch this at a longer length. So if you want this maybe longer than 6 or 8 inches, take it and just pinch it longer up here. And then if it's too long at the end, you can always cut it off. I hate wasting ribbon, but if you have to, you have to. Again, this ended up being so inexpensive. I got it on sale for $6.79, so it ends up being 6 cents a foot. So if worst case scenario, you made your bow's beautiful, but your tail is too long. Long is better than too short. Otherwise, you'd have to do that. So I'm just making my loop, a guesstimation of the loop of the size I like. I'm going to pinch it there and hold it, and then I'm going to put it over here on the project just to see if it's big enough, if I like that. And so far, I'm happy with it. This is not double-sided ribbon, even though it looks like it is. It has a finished edge here on the outside, and then on the inside it's a little different. It's not crazy different, so if you don't really want to twist it, you don't have to. It's a really forgiving looking ribbon. But you have to take it, and then you're going to have to twist it so that that front faces you again for you to make your second loop. So then I'm going to guesstimate by the loop I already have here, and then pinch it again back here, and then twist that so it's facing you again. And then this is the other part of your tail. Or if you want, you can continue to make 4 loops. I have another 2-inch ribbon that I'm going to put on top of this. So this is kind of just accent for the back. So I'm just going to cut that off probably about right there. And then leave this as it is. Go on to my next one. I'm still holding this. Here's the issue. Now here's where if you have strength issues or you just can't hold that many bows, A-okay. Use that chip clip. Grab the chip clip, place it around everything that you just did, and then now you can set your project down, and that's still all back to the way it was. I like to hold all my stuff as long as I'm still, you know, able to, so I just keep going with what I have. Once we're done, I mean, this is going to get all kinds of crushed. We're going to be working on the back of it when we glue stuff on, so you'll forever be fluffing that bow, moving your pieces around, changing things, changing directions. So I'm doing the exact same pattern, except for I'm doing it next to it. So I'm pinching and then twisting to get that pattern facing me, making my second loop, pinching it again, twisting it to face me, and then cut it off. And I did short tails on this one too. I don't want them to be long. I kind of want them to just kind of pop out in one spot. So instead of it's next to the project here, I'm going to pull this piece up and put it on top of where I was holding it, the other one. And then here's where, if a few pieces come undone, which it looks like the bottom one did a little bit from where I had it pinched, just going to push it all back together and hold that in place there. And then this is where, once we get all that wrapped with the pipe cleaner, it won't matter because we're going to be twisting it and moving it all around anyway. So here's my third ribbon, that 1.5 inch with the extra little white snowflakes on it. Same thing, pinch it. I'm going to leave this one a little bit longer because this guy's in the middle. Make your loop, twist it, make your second loop. That might be a little bit too long. There we go. My second loop, twist it, and then I'm going to cut that off right here. This one I may have cut a little. That's not my ribbon scissors. I have separate ribbon scissors, guys. For some reason, if I cut anything else with my ribbon scissors, they get so dull. Even though I'm cutting through little wires, I don't know what that is, but sometimes that just happens. So pick this up, put this guy on top of this one, and then I'm going to move this little piece here around this way. All I'm doing is, as I'm holding it here, I have my thumb in the middle of everything. You guys can see here, I'm holding my thumb in the middle of all the work. I'm kind of adjusting these loops and pushing them where I want them. I'm pulling this tail up this way, and I'm pulling this tail down this way. So when I'm wrapping things, I don't have to necessarily put too much effort into it. I don't have to fuss with the top of it too much. So here I'm still holding the whole project. You can see I have the twist right here. And then I'm taking my pipe cleaner and I'm just wrapping it right around my thumb, right through the middle of it. Pulling it through the back. And then now I've got it here. And then this is normally what I do is make sure it's even. And I'll make one twist here and I hold it real solid to the back of it. And I keep twisting this here. That way the wire twists through the bow and not through the pieces I need to use it to attach to the wreath. It actually makes it's kind of like a twist tie on like a bread bag. It'll continue to twist, but it's going to put more pressure and twist tighter on the bow part where I want the tension and where I want it to be tighter. And then I still have my empty pieces here to use. So I'm still taking it and I'm twisting it. There's still some piece, I mean, it still comes out. See how much it's come out a little bit from where I'm twisting it? But I'm only twisting it so tight around this portion of the bow. And I'm not going to cut the raw edges that I haven't dubbed yet until I get them on the wreath, just to make sure. I don't want to cut them too short, or I don't want to leave them too long. Vice versa. So I'm just kind of moving that all around, peeking it how I have it, and then now I'm going to just throw this guy right into the middle of the wreath. It looks a little kind of crazy right now, but that's normal. Don't think that you've done something wrong if your bow looks a little crazy. It's supposed to. When you're done with everything, that's when you'll know where you need to tweak it or where you want to add to it if it's still kind of looking a little weird to you and you're not liking it. So I purposely left like a small little space right here. I have one of those first ones here. I got a little bit of that last greenery bush I put right here. But I left this space here in the middle just because I wanted to make sure I got this one down here. Now I wanted the other greenery around it because it's going to be used as an accent. It holds your bow up. It adds depth to it. It makes it thicker and it gives you texture. So it's not crazy end of the world if you're covering up a lot of what you just did. That's part of the process, I guess, is what you could say. I've covered up a lot of stuff I've spent a lot of time on. I was like, oh, well, my bow just basically covered up 80% of what I just did. So all I did after I twisted this on the base is I twisted those two pieces together. So I have this little guy here that sticks out, and I use my pliers and I wrap him around the rest of the frame. And this frame is a little thick with all these extra goodies on it, so I don't know how far around this is going to reach, so I might have to just use a little bit more glue on the back when I cover this with, yeah, that's not going to go through there. When I cover it with the leaves, I put leaves on the back to cover up these guys so you don't really see the pipe cleaner or the chenille stem. There we go. I'm just wrapping this, literally wrapping this back through the back. And then wrapping it around this piece here. It's not very long, so it's not giving me a lot to work with, but that's okay because we're going to put some glue on the back of it and it'll be fine. So here's where I'm going to kind of mess with it just a little bit. Going to kind of get some of the ribbon adjusted here and there. And what I try to do is if I put this loop of this color ribbon towards the top, I'll try to put the opposite side toward the bottom to kind of give it a different pattern, I guess you could say. So these two guys I have kind of going in crazy directions, but I want it to go like that. I want it to be that way. So I'm going to pull these two textured ones up this way. And I want the bow tails to just kind of do their own thing. So if they lay a little wild and crazy, then let them do it. It's going to be that way because of the, also because of all the greenery. The greenery is going to hold it a certain way, and there's really nothing you can do about that. So obviously to a certain point, I mean, it's all wired, so there's a lot you could do about it, honestly, I guess, huh? So I'm just kind of adjusting and moving things around. So now I'm going to cut these guys, because regardless of what I put inside the middle of this bow, if I add little extra pieces to it, this bow is basically set where I have it. I'm not going to move it. I'm not going to take it out. So I'm just going to add my little extra dovetails to the extra pieces I hadn't cut before. And then honestly, I think I made this one a little bit too long. So I'm going to cut about maybe now about 1.5 inches off of that. That seems a little bit, yeah, that's much better. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna save this just because that's a lot of bow. I mean, that's a lot of cute ribbon. I don't want to throw it out. So let's see here. This is all just adjustment time. So throwing that guy up to the left and this guy up to the right. And these little sloppy bows too are also the perfect time where all these extra pieces that I told you I still had some pieces here and I've got pieces like this. I'm going to throw these literally inside the bow. You're going to see me glue pieces like this and like this. So I just set them in there, but if you can tell here, they look like they're coming out of the bow. They give a little bit more depth to the actual piece, and it's really simple to just place some glue right on the end, and you're literally just gluing it right down into the middle of the bow. So you could be pushing it just against other pieces of ribbon and making sure you have a good hold, or you could be gluing them down to the pipe cleaner that you've attached or secured the ribbon together with. I use that on a lot of things. This bow alone's got all kinds of goodies stuffed in it on this snowman guy. The bows seem to have a lot of holes in them when I do these little sloppy bows. There's only a couple pieces of ribbon here and there. I mean, they're not really a thick full bow, so I don't see it happening like it would need to be some sort of thick piece of huge bow. That for this type of wreath, I didn't want it to be too full. I didn't want it to take away from a lot of the other greenery and things that we're going to place in here. Alright guys, so I've got berries. I know I said I wanted to put a smaller little bow over here, but I feel like this doesn't have enough color in it. My 1.5 inch ribbon, I don't really want to make a huge bow out of it, but my 1.5 inch ribbon just seems like it's a little bit too small for on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a 1 loop ribbon. It's basically just a 1 loop bow. And it's only going to have 1 tail on it, and I'll show you how I do that. So first off, we're going to start with my ribbon scissors. We're going to cut a dovetail on the end of this piece, right? Okay, so now we have a dovetail, right? I'm just going to take this guy here and I'm going to make a loop. So you just make a loop where you want, let's say we pinch it there, and that's how big we want this to see. We're going to cut this piece off back here. So there's just the 1 piece hanging off here. So I have a loop here and a tail, but I want to see if this is going to be big enough for what I want to do. I think I'm going to make it a tiny bit bigger, because once I wire that down in there, it might need more room. Okay, so where I have it pinched at is where I'm basically going to cut it off at. So let go and cut it off. So you have this piece here. You can see your pinch marks from before. Place your cut edge here where you're going to pinch it. And this is where you're at. This is just a 1 loop bow. So you're going to take this piece here and you're going to nestle this down into your piece or your work over here, and you're going to have a 1 loop bow. So I'm going to do the exact same thing with my 1.5 inch ribbon. And then I have a tiny little accent bow. Wrong scissors again. A tiny little accent bow that matches your main bow on the other side. It just adds a little bit of extra. A little bit of extra to it. So I'm pinching, making this bow here. That's perfect. I'm going to cut that off, and then I'll show you guys how I wire it. Same thing with a pipe cleaner. If you want to use floral wire, have at it. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Whatever you want. You could even do a zip tie, you guys. You could zip tie this together and then take your pipe cleaner and put your pipe cleaner around the zip tie. If you want more of a secure feel. Some people really like to use zip ties on bows. I will if it's a really big bow and I definitely don't want it to fall apart. So I've just done the same thing here. I got a 1 loop bow. I got 2 1 loop bows with 1 tail each. So I've got just a smaller little piece here. It's not going to be very intrusive at all. And I'm doing the same thing. I wrapped it around it and I'm just twisting these guys. So the idea is when you look at it, it looks a little strange. You got 2 loops, 2 tails. But when you push it down into the piece, that's what it's going to basically look like. You're going to use the piece to push the 2 pieces together, and then you've got 2 little fluffy bows. So here we will add that. Let me get these spools out of the way. We're going to add it to the piece right here. Right here on this side is where I'm going to place it. So you guys can see here, this is how we're going to have the wreath hanging. We got a bigger bow on the left, and then we're going to have this little tiny accent here down on this right side. And then I'm going to put some berries all around in here, but the best part is to accent around the berry, put the berries more around the bows. So here's where I got to go behind the sign a little bit. So I got my finger, I'm kind of searching for that pipe cleaner, and there it is. And then we're going to pull that piece down through the side. Okay, and I got it down here. I'm just going to twist and do the same thing as before. Just keep twisting and then wrap it around the frame. Here's where I need a little bit of a helper to get me to be able to push that through. Sorry guys, this one's kind of fighting me a little bit. That's the beauty of live, right? Start to finish, you get to see it all. Which also means you get to see some of the hiccups. Which a lot of times is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see some of the issues people were having, and then normally that's when I would have to stop a YouTube video, is because I'm having an issue that the person on the video is just not having. Or I can't see too well. And so there, I've twisted that guy around. I'm happy with it. I'm going to do one more. And then when I cover that with a leaf, it's going to get a lot of hot glue on it. So I've literally just wrapped it around the metal ring. I've wrapped it around 3 times. And this guy is also the same as the other. You can pull your smaller loop kind of horizontal and this one vertical, and you can use that left and right and just get those pieces to stick out. And that's what you've got for just a little bit of accent here on this side. It adds just a tiny little bit of extra that you wouldn't expect. Sometimes one bow is not enough, right guys? You just need to, I feel like I need to put more into it, so I did. So next, I need to put in the little wooden snowflakes. We also have berries. And then at that point, I wanted to see if I was going to put some of that cotton in, but I'm beginning to start to think it might be a little bit too much. We'll see. So far, this is looking very, very, very gorgeous. I'm very happy with it. So let's get this stuff out of the way. All right, and now I want to see about just placing these in here again, because I'm not sure if I want to put 5 or 4 in here. I like to stick kind of with odd numbers. These have a little, these little ornaments here, they have a little bit, I mean, first off, they've got this burnt edge. It's really, really pretty. So, let's see here. And then, oh, nope, let's go back. Sorry, guys. There we go. My comments weren't coming up, so there's it. And they have like a little bit of a burnt edge. I'm sure it's because it's laser cut. But I'm going to cut these off at the little hanger. We're not going to really use the hanger. So now I'm looking at a snowflake with a little hole in it. We're going to nestle that down into the evergreen, or into these parts here where it should be hidden enough to where it won't actually show too much. It won't be crazy obtrusive. I want these to look like they've literally just been little nestled inside there. The stuff. Obviously, they're not actual snowflakes, so I'm not really concerned about them looking realistic or anything. You know what I mean, guys? So I'm just going to kind of nestle them here and there just to see if they actually show up enough, or if it's kind of a moot point to even put them in. Just wanted that extra little, it's just that extra little something that you wouldn't expect. I just wanted to kind of throw some of these in there. A little more wooden accents, just on top of this really pretty, the really pretty sign. That's that one there, that one. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this, because this actual guy here is identical to the one that's on the sign. It's the same pattern. So I'm going to put this guy closer to the sign here, because he's a little different. Just pop him down in there. And I'm going to throw this guy kind of over here on this side. Just enough to get a little bit of accent here and there, and we'll see how this looks. And I can put one more in here. Okay, so this is what I'll do. Probably gonna nestle this guy right in here. Everything's just about placement. Just kind of like nestle stuff here and there where you think you would want it to be. And then again, since we haven't committed down to the placement of, you know, every single little piece, we don't have to actually worry about moving it, because we actually haven't glued anything in. Actually, I think I might just stick with 3, honestly, because they're all different. It's an odd number. I'm just going to stick with 3, you guys. I think I like 3. And that seems to work for me. Here, I'll hold that up for you so you guys can see. I'm going to nestle this guy on this side over here. As I also have some berries to put in. And I don't want too much of it to get lost. I want the greenery also to be a good part of it too. A good part of the actual wreath itself. And I believe I got a splinter just now. And then these natural wood pieces have added just enough pop that you don't really... What do you guys think? So this is how the wreath is going to hang on the door. It's going to hang this way. So maybe I should put more in. I'm not sure. Which I can always add them in later on. It's not going to be too hard of a task. Put that guy right there. Yeah, I think maybe I need to do 4. I like to keep things in odd numbers, but that necessarily doesn't have to be that way, I know. It's just sometimes the odd numbers make things look just a little different. So I'm going to put glue on the end of this guy, and I'm just going to pop him down in there. And I don't necessarily actually need them to be even. I want them to look like they've just been stuffed in haphazardly, and that your different angles give you different views on these guys. So they're not, yeah, I like that. So they don't look like, you know, obviously not real snowflakes. I know I got to get over that. But I just want things to be a little bit nestled. Got glue on the end of that guy there. I'm going to pop him down in here. And then that one, we'll do one more. This guy here. I'll have to move him in here like that somehow. Yeah. Also depends on the height of the person looking at the wreath, right? Where do you have it hanging? How tall are the people looking at it? And it's also going to depend on where do you want to see it? Where does it make you most happy at? That kind of stuff. So at some point there's going to be an angle for all of it that you're going to see something different every time you look at it, or when you take it down, when you walk in the door, when you get home, whatever comes across that it makes you just happy enough that you like where you put it. Let's see, I agree, Sandra. Thank you, Sandra. Appreciate that. All right, so now, guys, here's the berries. This is the biggest berry bush I could find, and I found in my Hobby Lobby, and they're a decent size. There's a lot of berries on this guy. Regular price was $6, $5.99. I got it for $2.99, so I bought them when they were 50% off. And what I'm doing here is I'm pulling down one at a time. I pull down the pieces here, and I'm just going to cut them off if I can't pull them. And see here, I'm able to pull, if you just keep taking, like hold all these pieces, right? I've separated one little stick. That's I separate one stick. And if you just keep pulling enough, do you see how it's coming? It's coming down because it was up here. If you just keep pulling and pulling, you can eventually, let's see, put a little bit of elbow grease into it. You can pull them out, and they're the perfect length for the project you're doing. We're basically just going to be nestling these all inside the pieces that we've already glued on. So you've already got a lot of base items that we can glue things to, and it's going to be a good, solid, secure bond. You're not going to have to worry about little pieces falling out. And then you also don't have the really long ends of the stems sticking out the back of your wreath, because then you got to cut them. And then for me, I make sure that they're curled in or they're covered so they don't scratch your door or your window. Or if for some reason I've scratched my own hands, you know, you get worse than a paper cut, or you know, get poked by a stapler. So basically we're only working with maybe what was that, 1.5 inches off from the bottom berry. But we're going to be using this to just nestle these guys and have enough of the berries just poking out all over the wreath. Same thing. Keep them in the same direction that you've been putting things in. And by the time you're done, you'll see your pattern, and it'll look really, really pleasing. And it makes you smile. It makes me smile, at least. So this one, I'm not going to place them in just to peek at them. I'm literally just going to pull them off and nestle them inside. So I'm just going to keep pulling these off here. And just keep pulling and pulling. If you get to a point where you can't pull them anymore, usually you can cut them. And see, that one kind of came apart a little bit, but that's okay. I save these when they fall off, and I glue them to the insides of my bows, stuff like that. So I'm just going to keep pulling these guys off of the bottom. Having a pretty good run here. So far, these are all coming off somewhat easily. And these little leaves are really good. These kind of don't look too nice. They're a little bit on the cheaper side, but not too bad looking. Those are also really good to put inside the bows. You can cut these little leaves off and nestle them inside all these little loops here, which is also what I'm going to do with some berries. Just get these berries all over the place. So let's just start poking these guys in, and then when I get to a certain point, I'll pop it back up so you guys can take a look. I didn't want like huge chunks of berries, so that's why a lot of times when you buy a bundle this big, don't look at it as though, well, I need to get 7 of these or 8 of these. Look at it as, how many of these can I rip apart? So a lot of times when I'm at the stores, I say, oh, do you need this in a special bag? It's like, no, don't worry about it. Nothing that I buy stays in one piece. I literally rip it all apart. And they're like, oh, really? Yeah, guaranteed. I literally rip it all apart. Very few things stay in one piece in my book. Most of the stuff I look at is, how can I rip this apart? How many pieces can I get out of it? Especially if you're going to make multiple projects or you're making multiple gifts. You know, how many pieces will it give you? I mean, how much will you get out of it if you're making table centerpieces, or if you're making gifts for a group or church, stuff like that, things that need to be auctioned, or you're giving them to charities, those types of things. I got a little bit of glue on the tip of this, so I'm just pulling it off real quick. That's what I like about the glue pot. That glue pot does get hot, so please, guys, be very careful. But it does not get anywhere near as hot as my glue gun. I burnt my pinky finger yesterday, you guys. I can't not burn myself. My husband heard me the other day, too. I was like, thank the Lord this hasn't happened on a Facebook Live. Because, man, you guys, I just do some weird things, and apparently I can't seem to be able to trust myself when it comes to my glue gun. And I burnt my pinky finger the other day holding something in when I should have been holding it with one of my little helper tools I told you guys about. It never fails. So I'm just still gluing up the ends of these red berries and popping them in left and right, just getting a little bit of accent here and there. And you'll see how much of a difference it's already made. You see that? You're just popping in berries left and just little here and there, all over. And I've gotten to this point right here. I started right here, and I got berries, 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 berries. And then I'm just going to continue here. I'm going to add my extra pieces of greenery to the rest of the wreath. And then I'm also going to be popping berries, little pieces of berry stems in that as well. And more of these are popping off. I'm going to have to use my pliers. So. There's one. Two. Yeah, that way I'm not putting too much pressure on the actual berries themselves. They're going to come off perfectly. And Leslie, thank you, Leslie. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad to show you guys. It makes me happy. It's also really fun to just have a little bit of company. If you guys ever just want just a little bit of company in the craft room. It also, it's very rewarding to be able to have you guys learn. I mean, it's just, I normally learn from everyone else. So if I can teach somebody else something new, then that makes my day brighter. Not to mention, I'm also benefiting from this too, guys. You guys are giving me great ideas. You guys give me really good feedback on a lot of different things. And then there's always the, you know, a helpful hint and a helpful tip is never a bad thing. So even I've gotten a lot of good constructive criticism too. A lot of people say, you know, people on the internet are really mean. I have not had many, oh, what do they call them? Internet trolls. I've only had like 2. And it's not been bad at all, just because, you know, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Everybody's got a different opinion. Everybody's got a different experience. And I completely understand that. And I think that's probably why it doesn't bother me. But I also haven't had any crazy stuff happen just yet. But I'm sure it's on its way. It's still the internet, you guys. It's still fine. But it's inspiring and it feels good. And I love getting questions. I love getting tips and tricks. I love seeing the things you guys make. I've seen a lot of stuff. You guys have sent me lots of really great pictures. And then also seeing how others are building off of the same ideas. It's really awesome to see how someone else can take it and then run with it in a different direction. And it's like, wow, I would have never thought of that. So, super fun to benefit from each other. Especially if there's that's not really a local thing here to do that. I mean, I don't have many options as far as, there were some scrapbooking stores here in Vegas where you could go, and they call it crop. If you guys know anything about scrapbooking or paper, working with paper and stuff like that. I've made cards. I've scrapbooked a lot of stuff in the past. But they have like crop nights where you pay money and you can go sit with some people. Some of them will do potlucks. But believe it or not, the stores here in Vegas have all closed. There used to be 3 or 4 of them, and then it went down to 2. And the last time I looked into it, there was only 1, and she sold her business to take care of her grandbabies. She needed to move out of state and take care of her grandbabies, so there's no more cropping nights to go hang out with other people who also like the same thing that you do. They're also, I call it, craft-minded. Those were always fun too. People share, at least it was in paper making. You guys would share products, share tips and ideas, share different stuff like that. Here's just with the berries popped in, you guys. I might add some more, but I think I'm pretty much done with just these guys. So I just added the berries to it. Here's the back. Nothing really all that crazy to look at. So added berries. Let me see. This is how we're holding it still. Whoops. This is how we're holding it. So that's how it's going to hang. So now lastly, all I'm going to do, I don't know. I don't really want to add these now. I mean, what do you guys think? Cotton or no cotton? If I take this guy off here. Oh, here, let me show you this. I'm going to use this one because I like, if we decide, I'm going to use these ones because they look like they've been like really overgrown and they're really time to pop out and they've been a little abused a little bit. But there's also, I got that at Hobby Lobby. There's also these little tiny picks you can get at Hobby Lobby in like the bridal area, floral area. They cost a little bit more, but you guys tell me if I nestle this one in here just as, it's not going to look right, I don't think at first. What do you guys think? You can't even see that. It doesn't even look right. Cotton or no cotton? I think the idea of putting the cotton in it was really cute. Because it's, you know, more, it's rustic-y and it's kind of a little weirdness. I'm not sure. What do you think? Everybody vote. Cotton or no cotton? I got 1 thumb up so far for a cotton, to add the cotton to it. I would probably rip these guys apart a little bit further and just nestle them down and around in here. Yeah, you know what? I think you like the cotton? Got 2 cottons. I think I'm going to do it. Let's just try it. We won't glue it in. Worst case scenario, I cut them apart and then I don't use them. I've done that many times. If you got your stems, and I'll cut my stems apart, I get them all ready to go. If I don't use them, I just zip tie them back together. So let's just see what happens with this. I'm going to rip them apart, and I'm just going to place them in there, and we can get a better idea of what this is actually going to look like. And then if worst case scenario, we all don't like it. See that one stem? Pulled it apart. I got 3 pieces out of it, but I'm going to definitely take these pieces and cut them again and make them into more than that. So it'll be like 2 pieces each. So you guys tell me real quick. Let's see. Cotton, cotton, cotton. Cotton and berries, yes. 1 no cotton. 2 cottons. I got more cottons. I got 1 no cotton and I got 3 or 4 cotton. So let's add it and see what happens. I'm just going to nestle it in here and there. Actually, I think I like it, guys. The white, the little pop of fuzzy white in here with this green and red, it's talking to me. I think I'm liking what we have going on here. Let's just see. Let's just see. Just nestling it in, and then I'll get you guys' opinion. You know what, I'm going to leave that price tag on real quick just so I can take a peek at what I got going on here before I... Maybe I can get this one right here by this bow. And put that one there. All right, guys. I got 2 more pieces, and then you guys tell me what you think. Because worst case scenario, I can pull this right back out. But I'm actually really liking what we did here. I'm really liking how we got... Oh, wait, I'm not going in the direction I said to go. Hold on. See, even you got to stop sometimes. I'm getting off track, and I'm not placing stuff how I normally would. So I'm trying to go in the same direction I already had. It'll be a little bit difficult with this bow here. Now I could put this inside the bow. In fact, I'm going to take this piece out. I'm going to use that in the bow. All right, we got some snowflakes and some berries and some cotton. I'll take that out. Okay, what do you think? I got little pops of white fluffy cotton in there. That look kind of good, guys? It adds a little bit more. Yes, yes, Sandra does. It brightens it up a little bit more. Let's see. I see it as rustic country. Like children bought mom a bouquet for her winter wreath. That's perfect. I love that, Stacy. That's perfect. So I like that. I'm definitely, yeah. We're gonna keep the cotton. Okay, guys. So let me glue these pieces in. Take about 5 seconds, depending on how much I talk while I do it. And then all I got to do is just add these little extra accents to the bow, and we're done, you guys. Oh, and you guys do still want to see, you want to see how I cover the stuff on the back? Or do you want me to save that for later? You guys tell me. You guys let me know. Yes, you want to see. Okay, Helen, yeah, you want to see how I put the stuff on the back to cover up oh my gosh, words, guys. Sorry. To how I cover up the pipe cleaner and little behind the scenes things that are popping through. You guys definitely want to see that. Okay. I can make that happen. All right, I'm bending this one. Like I glued this down straight in here, but I'm taking the top of it and I'm bending it over. So you'll get the look of the two pieces here. Instead of having this stick straight up, I bent it to the right. So you can kind of see that I'm kind of bending it with the curve of the wreath, but it just kind of felt natural to kind of turn it a little bit more into the wreath. And that's something you'll get used to. You'll just feel when you're placing things in, you're like, you know, I think I need to move this to the right. I think I need, you know, it's wired. Why don't I try bending it? And then also worst case scenario with wired stuff. Remember, you can't break it. It's wired. So, if you don't like how you bent it, bend it back. It's very forgiving. Not too much to worry about. And you know what, guys? I'm going to cut these a little bit shorter because I like how these are sticking kind of straight up over here. I want these to be just a tiny bit shorter, I think. So, but I'm going to wait till the very end before I actually cut too much of it off. So, I'll bend that a little bit more. I got one more to glue in, and then I'm going to add some accents to that bow. And then we'll do the back of it, and we'll be done, guys. This has turned out really awesome, and I really do like the cotton. I'm really glad you guys voted for it. Help me out. Help me out making that decision. So I just, after you place things in, it's really easy to forget where you put it. And I've fallen in love with placement on a lot of things and then forgotten where they went. So I just kind of keep my eyes on it, hold things back a little bit, go over here to my glue pot, which is why the glue pot's so good because it's hands-free. Load that up with some glue and pop that guy right back in where he was. And then that's laying perfectly right in that little extra loopy bow I made here. Yes. Yes, you guys. This is great. I'm really happy with this. It's turning out really good. Okay. So last but not least is my bow. I've got all these little extra pieces. I got 2 of these. I'm not going to use all of them. I got 4 of these that came off of the one bush. Now remember, I still have a lot of that bush left, so you don't have to use all of it because you got a lot left over that you can use for other projects. And then I've got more berries that I'm going to place in there. And then I've got the one single piece of cotton that I am definitely going to place on this guy. I'm going to put this right down in the center of that bow. So I need to cut this shorter here. I like the messy look of this cotton, but first I'm going to take it and I'm going to cut this a little bit shorter. Just so that sticks out some. Cut this guy a little bit shorter too. I wanted these tails to kind of pop outward. I don't want them to necessarily be long. Just wanted that look. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And that one I'm going to leave as is. Okay. So what I normally do with my bows is I'll take the pieces that I have and I nestle them into the bow. So the bow here is, this is just the plain bow. I wired it in, and you can kind of see down into it, which is not bad. It looks great the way it is. I love to, you know, stuff little highlights and little extra things down into the different deeps in the sides. So the best thing I do is to show you is just take one piece and kind of nestle it in and see how you like it. Just take it and push it between the bow loops. So I'm going to like I'll nestle this guy down here and see if I like the way that pops out right there. And all you're doing is gluing stuff into the bow. You're not really gluing this into the wreath. You're basically making the bow a permanent piece. So I add little pieces into that there. And then here's the main event, is this little guy here is going to go right down in the center. This is also a good time to put I'm going to put berries in it. Or pine cone. You could put a pine cone. Now, I said earlier I only wanted to put this pine cone in it right here, this guy. But I'm going to leave it off. I think with the cotton and the berries we had, I think all of it looks great. And I'm just going to leave it the way it is. So, Stacy really loves the wreath. Thank you, Stacy. I appreciate that. Looks down to earth. Gives me winter wonderland feeling. Perfect. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. That's great. And then Carol, yes, I do sell my wreaths. I have an Etsy shop still under construction. I'm trying to get stuff up on it as much as I can. This guy will be listed on my Etsy shop in a few days. My biggest hurdle right now is boxes. A lot of shipping boxes just don't work, and I've had issues with post office and the priority mail boxes. I'm still filling all that stuff out. So I have some larger boxes, and I'm pretty sure that they're too big for this wreath, but I will have this listed on my Etsy shop soon, not in the not too distant future. Just because obviously the holidays are coming up, and if you know you're going to want this on your door. This is not necessarily Christmas. This is just winter. You could leave this up until whenever the snow stops. You know, you guys. I'm here in Las Vegas. I don't know when snow stops because I don't know when snow starts, and I guess in a lot of places that's already happened, right? So. There's nothing saying that this couldn't be used for a few months, not just for December. That's part of the appeal of just snowflakes. That's, you know, a snowflake theme, maybe just a winter theme, is not necessarily guaranteed to force you into any kind of holiday, or not saying force you into a holiday, but not to force you into a Christmas wreath at all. But it gets the point across, right? So I'm just going to take these and pop these in here in two different places. So I like those two. So yeah, what I do is I'm going to take this piece. Remember before I'd said that it could melt a little bit because I don't have a pick machine. Now for this particular instance, I wouldn't put a metal pick on the end of this because I'm literally nestling it between the ribbon loops. So I'm not gluing it down to where I want to have a metal pick on it. I want this plastic to stick to the ribbon, not to the wreath itself. There's nothing to really stick it into, whereas those metal picks are really good for more along the lines of arrangements, like in styrofoam, those types of things, like the elf legs I made online with you guys a little bit ago, or the Santa hat. Those are things that you kind of want more of a solid metal piece to put into styrofoam. This stuff I want it to stick to each other or to the pieces that are already in it. Here's my piece of cotton. Do you see how short I cut that? Because I want to nestle it really down in the center of that ribbon. So I'm just separating it out and I'm putting that guy down in there. Moving these bows around a little bit. So this is what we've got so far. I put the cotton in the middle and I put this guy on this side and another guy over here. Thank you, Sandra. Just watched the birth of another one of my beautiful wreaths. You're welcome, Sandra. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being here, and thank you for the compliment. It's always so great to hear from you guys. So these guys, again, same thing. I'm going to put glue on the end, and I'm just literally taking them and pushing them in between the little loops here. And it just enough depth that it might look like, even though this is a hand-picked wreath and you brought these pieces in from the garden, that maybe the pieces of the garden have grown around the wreath, and it's just, you know, whatever little story you can make up in your mind, whatever makes you happy. These are, you know, these are things that are designed to make you smile when you come home, or make you smile when you see them on whatever door you hang them on, just to give you that little bit of extra happiness, right? That's why most of us want to make these things and look at them and have them become part of your home, have them become part of your daily. I like looking at most of this stuff year round. The best part of my craft room is that I've got all of the holidays up all year round. I got some Halloween over here, Halloween up here, got Christmas over here. I got a couple things up here behind me that are Valentine's Day, so I get to take a peek at it year round. And then all my other wreaths that I normally keep on for my own personal use in my front door, I have those all hanging in my garage. So my garage walls have wreaths on them on the inside, and then those are the ones that I put outside the rest of the year. So I had one more of these left, guys. So I'm pretty much done with this bow. I'm going to put a few berries in that bow. Thank you, guys. I love the hearts. I really appreciate that. That's so great. I'm going to take this guy right here, and I'm going to nestle him right there down the side. I just want that little piece sticking out right there. And every little thing you will find a use for, you'll find a place for. Depending on how many leftovers I have, I will find a way to get them nestled in somewhere. That way I don't have to keep, number one, I don't want to keep too many loose pieces around, and number two, I just absolutely don't want to throw any little pieces away. Thank you guys for the hearts. I love that. That's so nice. I appreciate that so much. That is unbelievably beautiful. Thank you, Carol. I really appreciate that. All right, guys. Berries in the bow, and then I'll show you how I cover up the back, and we'll be done. And then I got some other stuff. Remember I said earlier, if you guys weren't on the live earlier, I'm going to do the paw print wreath this weekend. I'm going to do the paw print wreath on Saturday, possibly. I don't know in the morning, but I will definitely get that paw print done Saturday, and then I'll show you, you know, these with the sign I got. I bought 2 of these. I'll be making that paw print sign. Really simple and easy. It might be another long one because I have to wire all that together, and then you guys will see me start to finish again. So here's my last 2 little accents. I'm going to push down in here a couple little sprigs of berries. So everything I did earlier, I pulled all those off. I literally just pulled 2 more pieces off of that big piece. And I got to cut them a little bit shorter, because you'll know when you try to stick them down in there, you'll know by how much is sticking out, how much you have to cut off. So I had to cut probably about another little inch, but you'll see that's about all I left on there in order for it to go into the piece of the bow that I want it to go into. So I'm going to see how this one looks over here. Yeah, I'm happy with that, but I don't think it's touching. Got to make sure you have something for it to be glued to. I mean, you can end up pushing glue down in there and it's just hanging in the middle. The glue dries and then it pops back out. So I want to make sure I have this piece actually touching something, and it is. So this one, I can leave that length. I didn't have to cut it. I'm going to push that guy down onto another part of the ribbon behind it, one of the tails, and then one of these extra little greenery parts. So that guy's not coming out. And then this guy's going on the front part of the cotton that I nestled down right into the center. And then I'll show you guys that real quick as soon as I get this guy down in here. There we go. I'm going to twist it a little bit. Also, the berries are wired. Don't be afraid to move them around. Things are going to kind of get a little jostled here and there. And there's nothing wrong with kind of grabbing things and tugging on them a little bit just to make sure, you know, just to make sure they're in there solid. If you're going to give it as a gift, if you're going to sell it to a client for your own business, you just want to tug on it a little bit. Once that glue is dry, that stuff's not going anywhere, just to make sure things aren't going to pop out. And also make sure you haven't missed anything, because remember I told you before, there's times that I have missed things, and I went to go put them on the wall, and things have just fallen out of them onto the floor. And I was like, okay, Whitney, all right, you're a little ahead of yourself there, girl. I actually found one more piece right here I want to put some berries in, because it's popping out, it's peeking at me from right here. Yes, okay. Remember, guys, I said before I have I have that ism where I can't stop. I have that that's not a phobia because I'm not scared of it. What do you call that? I have that I don't know when to stop thing. But this little piece, it needed red right here because there's a piece of cotton right here. You see that cotton under these tails? And it was speaking to me. Okay, guys. So that's it for the front. That's what we're working with. We got little pieces of cotton. You can see in the bow there, I stuck some berries down into the sides, put some greenery around it, so it really looks like the bow has grown into the wreath itself. Here's your side views. There's that little accent right here for the bow I put on the side of that little frame there. All these little extra pieces here, when you see this bow at different angles, anytime you walk it, open the door. If it's in the I have a pantry door in my kitchen that I put all my seasonal stuff on. I also put stuff on the inside and the outside of my garage. So my garage door, when you walk in from the car, I get to look at something there, and I get to look at something when I walk out. Anywhere, technically every door in my house has a wreath on it, so it's kind of just, that's life, we've accepted it, right? So that's what we're looking at here. Now on to the back. Thank you, Naomi. Naomi, you're amazing too. And Donna loves it. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. So now we're on to the back of it. Here's the pieces that I haven't shown you guys before. Just want to make sure you guys wanted to stick around and watch it. So we've only got a few pieces back. Now, the back of these, before other wreaths, my grapevine wreaths, those have been a little crazy to where you have to, I mean, you can see a lot of stuff going on. This is a very calm wreath. This is very, very clean back here. I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 pipe cleaners showing. I don't even know if you guys can see them that well. See these little pieces of pipe cleaner? That's really all you're looking at back here. And there's been other things where there's been so much stuff showing that I've had to get bigger leaves. And again, this is the back of your project. Some people do not have a preference. They don't care about it. They don't really need to have things hidden. I personally like the backs of things to look just as nice as the front, but that's just my own personal preference. Not everybody is the same. So I'm going to show you the back of this guy here. I made this one a while ago. And if you can see here, because of what was involved and the things you can see on the back of it, I glued fall leaves to where all of the ugly stuff was. There's a lot of stuff wired in the I have the sign on the front, the pumpkin and all that good stuff. So the back of this guy has a lot of fall leaves. They're sporadic. I didn't fill the whole thing in because that's just too much and it would be a lot of work to fill the whole back of the wreath in. If that's something you want to do, feel free. That's no problem. Everything is personal preference. I'm only covering up what I felt was the ugly, behind the scenes, mechanics, the things you don't really want to see. Pipe cleaners, wires, picks that might be sticking in. This is some of the burlap you can see from the back, which was showing as an accent on the front in different places where you can sort of still see it. But I only covered up some of the really ugly parts where I had things wired. So that's what we're going to do here on this one as well. I don't have any leftover leaves, so most of the time, a lot of other people have given really good advice, and I'll give you the same advice. When you cut things off of a stem, save the leaves. If you're not using the leaves, save them. It doesn't matter, and I'll show you my little stash here. So, this is my little box, and I save all of the leaves. And yes, I may have them stacked in order. I have a neatness gene, you guys. So these are just other projects I've saved all the leaves from. And these hydrangea leaves, very popular. See those little hanging hydrangea ball door hangers? All of those were big bushes and they had leaves on them. I saved the leaves. What we're going to do, there's so many leaves in here, guys. You see all these leaves? There's so many leaves in here. Just for the sake of time, I'm just going to take these bigger leaves right here. These are also hydrangea leaves. Green is green is green is... Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to take these darker ones right here. Green is green is green, right? So I've got these extra couple leaves. And that's actually quite a small box because there's some people even more stuff over the course of who knows how long. So I got 4 leaves here. I might need more, but we'll see. So here's where you're going to have to turn your project upside down. This is where I said your bow's going to get a little smooshed. Don't worry about it. Bow fluffing becomes natural. And for me, it becomes life. Because I'm the one that does it in stores, at registers, on their own decorations, stuff like that. So all I'm going to do is cover up these guys back here with some leaves. And it's super, super, super simple. I'm going to need about 3 leaves, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use all 4 because I'm going to put a little bit of interest in it. I'm going to cut off the piece right here. I'm just cutting off that plastic piece. We don't need that showing. So I'm cutting off those pieces that normally where they would stick into the bushes or the stems. And it's all about placement. We definitely want to just make sure we're covering up whatever little ugly behind the scenes stuff you don't want to see. So you're just going to kind of preliminarily just lay it across whatever you want it, whatever it is you want to cover. Okay, so if I remember correctly, let me see here. I think this is the top. So I'm definitely making sure that I'm covering this piece right here. This is where one is showing. So I'm going to put enough glue on the back of this in one spot to make sure that I'm at least securing it down to the piece I want to hold it to. Now it's going to be really hot because I can feel that heat coming through there. Just use something to hold it down for a few seconds while it's cooling off. And then my glue gun gets super, super hot, guys. So let's see. Donna, fixing bows in store. Yes, I do it a lot. And my husband laughs at me constantly. I do it at the grocery store. My grocery store by my house is they get an A for effort. We'll put it that way. But I can't fault people. That's my own stuff. But yeah, stores. Even if there's a display where I know it was probably beautiful when it first went out, but you know it's been exposed to the masses or toddlers, you know, that kind of stuff. It's not their fault. I'll help them out while I'm waiting. Just gluing this down to cover up the behind the scenes. And really, if this doesn't, I mean, honestly, this one wasn't having a lot to cover up back here. Those 4 little pieces of pipe cleaner weren't ugly at all. And it wasn't going to scratch anything. But remember I said, there's pieces on those pipe cleaners that I wanted to glue together. So putting the glue on the actual pipe cleaner is going to keep it, just in case, you never know, something might work itself clear and I don't want the bow to fall out. Now I've glued enough stuff on the front of it that I don't think the bows are going anywhere. It's just that extra little piece of security to make sure that your stuff isn't going to go anywhere. And so I'm throwing just a little bit more glue on the wreath here. And I'm using the back of my tools to just kind of hold those pieces down and make sure that they're drying there. Because remember, you're touching it too much, that glue is still super hot back there. And now this one here at the top, you don't necessarily need to put 2 leaves on it. But I'm going to put these 2 leaves here just like this. Because I think it's pretty. I mean, there's no other real reason for it. I just think it's pretty. Fix bows in store shows how Whitney has the perfect obsession. Yes, actually I do. I'm ribbon obsessed. Ribbon obsessed, floral obsessed. I'm fine with it. It's actually not a problem, right? If you admit it. Isn't that how the saying goes? If you can admit it, it's not a problem. I admit it. I'm not ashamed. So I want this one to go this way. And then last one. Again, I don't need to because I've covered the piece I want to cover. I'm just going to put this one right here on the side. I just think it's pretty. That's really all there is to it. Maybe even the Santa himself. Yeah, I mean, if it's allowed, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem doing it. And it's also, if it's something I have to see every day. I mean, I go to the grocery store all the time, right? And at work, they put some decorations up last year that I couldn't walk past every day to my desk and lunch and the bathroom and get water and look at these things. So I eventually said, hey guys, you know, and they're like, oh, we were hoping you were going to fix those. So yeah, they know me. They know. It's a guaranteed thing. I can also MacGyver some really good stuff. Depends on, you got some remnants, you got little pieces of scrap left over. I'd make something out of it. You just give me 5 seconds, some glue, a paper clip, and a staple, and we can see what can happen. I've done that many times. All right, guys, that's all it. Let me see. And you, again, do a little tug. It's not coming off. You're good to go. Now this one I'm going to glue just a little bit more on the edge there. Just going to throw that glue right there and hold that down. Same thing with this thing. Just give them a tug. If it doesn't feel secure, there's nothing wrong with putting more glue on it. Just glue more onto it. And again, this is the back. So this is just to cover up anything that might scratch your door or scratch your window. Some people have those doors that have the glass pane windows in them, so you really don't want to... And then also, if you have one of those doors and you can see through, I used to have an apartment where my front door was my patio door, and it had a huge glass pane in it. Well, I still wanted to put a wreath up. So at least from the inside, because I didn't have a wreath on the inside and the outside there, if you don't have a wreath on the inside, at least you have something somewhat... I mean, in that instance, would be good to cover the whole thing in leaves, because then you have maybe a little bit more of a pleasing look through a window. But this would be more or less just to protect the window from scratches or protect your door from scratches. If it's a grapevine wreath, you're just going to have to accept scratches, because that's just what happens with grapevines. And now I got to fluff my bow, because I know I smushed it, and then I'll show you guys the back of it. Also, letting the weight of the wreath is also helping with... how it's gonna, I mean, obviously when it hangs, you're not putting a lot of weight on a door, but let me just fluff this thing back out here. All right, guys, here, and this is it. So I'll show you the last little bit. Here's the back. So we're gonna hang it this way. Here's the back. That's all we did. I just added 4 leaves. It's not really pretty, but it's also functional, and it covered up the pieces of wire that you want to absolutely make sure gets covered and doesn't scratch anything. So those pipe cleaners that we have secured for ribbon won't go anywhere because we've put glue on them, and then I covered them up with the with the leaves, so you're not seeing just huge globs of glue on the back to to hold in those bows. So at least you got somewhat to cover it. And get creative. If you can see, I have a little box, but you can get all kinds of leaves back here. The fall one, just put all kinds of fall leaves back there. It's never, there's no limitation to what you can put back here. And then, so here's our front. And I really like the addition of the cotton, guys. I'm really glad you were here with me to help me make that decision. I really appreciate all you, let me hold it more like this. There. I'm really glad that you guys were all with me to help me do that. This is really, really great. It turned out awesome. I'm going to get some pictures taken, and then you guys will see the finished product with the really good lighting, so you can see more of the detail. This is actually very gorgeous. I'm very, very happy. So that's about it. I'm going to do the paw print on Saturday, so I definitely will let you guys know what time the closer to Saturday we get. I'm going to do that paw print wreath with the Merry Christmas on it, so it'll be a little Christmas themed pet sign. And again, this goes for anybody that's got a 4-legged pet. So it could be cats or dogs, or what else has cute little paw print feet? You name it. So it can apply to anybody, not just dog and cat lovers. So I'm going to do that one this week, and I had a lot of people asking me to do it. So we will definitely, I'll show you how to do it, and we'll wire them all together. And then there's a few things I paint the wires so you don't look at all the wire holding things together. But I'm definitely going to do that this Saturday for you guys. And then I'm going to plan out something that's also going to be gift wrap. I had a lot of people asking for gift wrap after I'd mentioned if you want to see it, let me know. So I'm going to get some things put together, and I'll do a small little gift wrap thing too. In the meantime, if you have any ideas or requests, send them through on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, wherever outlet you're on. You can contact me that way, and I will do my best to get that planned and get those things put out. So as far as that, this is it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate every single one of you. It's a blast every time we get together. I love chatting with you guys. I like seeing all the things. If you make something similar, send me a picture. I love it. I'll post it to the Facebook page to say, hey, look what everybody else is making. Other than that, I'm going to let you guys go. And thank you, Linda. Appreciate it. I love it too. I'm going to let you guys go. And until next time, take care. And I'll see you guys in a couple days. Thanks. Bye-bye.